If you are on hormone therapy or you're considering hormone therapy, then you're going to want to listen up because these are the 7 myths that I've heard this week alone, whether it was directly in a meeting, in the DMs, or right there in the comments. So I'm going to go over these top 7 because there's so much misinformation out there. Well, there's so much information that's confusing to begin with around hormones. I totally understand that. But let's clear these 7 up. I'm going to run through them quickly so you know what I'm talking about, and then I'll dive into each individually. Number 1, you can't start HRT until you've gone 12 months, no period. Number 2, if you're on hormones and perimenopausal, you can't get pregnant. Or on the flip side, if you want to get pregnant, that could be tough. Number 3, black cohosh or other herbs are the same thing as going on hormones. Number 4, that your dose should stay the same all the time, no matter what. Number 5, that systemic estrogen, like a patch or a gel, etc., is the same thing as vaginal, and that's not true. Or it means I've had a woman say to me that she was refused vaginal estrogen because she had the patch and that should be good enough. Not true. We're going to talk about it. Number 6, you're too young. You're not 50 yet. You're not 51 yet. You're not 52 yet. You're too young for perimenopause. Now, there's a big difference between perimenopause and postmenopause, so we're going to talk about that distinction. And finally, number 7, you're over 60, that's too old to start. I had a 62-year-old reach out to me and say, I have all the symptoms, hot flashes, night sweats, urinary tract infections, et cetera, and I was told because I'm in my 60s, I can't do HRT. What the heck? Woo! Let's dive in because I feel with all that information out there, you just want these answered. They're probably some of the questions you have. They're questions you've asked your friends. It's the questions you're searching in the comments and social media as well. It's the questions you're trying to ask your healthcare practitioner and may or may not be running into a brick wall. Number 1, do you have to wait 12 months before you start hormone therapy? Now, there is that camp. There is totally the camp of practitioners who say, once you have gone 12 months, you are considered menopausal. Once you've gone the next day, so you're heading into the 13th month, you're considered postmenopausal. Believe it or not, the active menopause is a doorway. It's a day. You walk through it. Perimenopause is the 6 to 10 years leading up. You have your very last period ever. We wait 12 months, and then you are postmenopausal. I know it's crazy. So some practitioners feel you have to wait until you're 12 months to start hormone therapy. I am not in that camp at all, and I never have been. I have been prescribing hormones since 2005, a very long time. And if women have symptoms and they're at the appropriate age, then I'm like, let's put you on hormones if they want to go on hormones. And of course, I do all the foundational stuff as well at the same time. I'm a great example. I'm in my late 40s, but I still have regular periods. I am on progesterone. I have a lot of symptoms of low progesterone. Even though I still get a regular period, I still ovulate, I don't make great levels of progesterone anymore. So I am on progesterone to help myself and everyone around me. Let's be honest. I am not yet on estrogen, but once I start getting there, once I start having more irregular cycles or my estrogens aren't as robust as they are because I keep track, then I will absolutely go on estrogen. But I'm not going to wait 12 months. As you start skipping periods, let's say you're listening to this and you've gone 4 months or 6 months or 8 months, no period, that's 4, 6, or 8 months without hormone exposure to your receptors. Now remember, this 7 myths video is all around for somebody who is on hormone therapy or wants to go on hormone therapy. I'm fully aware not everybody wants to do hormone therapy or doesn't agree with it or can't. This is for the people who want it and have a lot of questions around these myths. That gets me into number 2. I'm on hormones, I'm perimenopausal, that means I can't get pregnant, right? Wrong. Wrong in a sense of if you still get a regular period and you still release an egg or ovulate and sperm meets that egg, there's a chance you can get pregnant. You don't get pregnant when the sperm doesn't meet the egg or you don't have an egg anymore. Once you're postmenopausal, you're not going to become pregnant because you don't have a cycle, but more specifically, you don't ovulate. You don't release the egg. So I have a lot of women go, oh, thank goodness, I'm in my 40s now. It's like nature's birth control. I'm like, nature's birth control if you don't release the egg. But if you're in your 40s with cycles, there is a chance that, unless you're doing something, right? Unless you've had your tubes tied, if you have a male partner, he's had a vasectomy, If you're on birth control of some sort, then you're not getting pregnant. But you would be surprised the number of women who are not any sort of birth control, whose partners haven't had a vasectomy, will say to me, well, I'm in my 40s, I can't get pregnant. Now, I do want to flip that to the opposite. If you are in your 40s and you are hoping to become pregnant and you're concerned because you're thinking you're perimenopausal, you have perimenopausal symptoms, that please be aware that there's also a chance you can become pregnant in your 40s. Like it can be, some women are like, no, I don't want to be pregnant in my 40s. And others are like, yes, I want to be pregnant. Both is true. Both is true. There is a chance you can get pregnant no matter what, whether you want it or not. So be aware of that. Take precaution if you know you ovulate, that the sperm doesn't meet the egg somehow, because you could get pregnant. Number 3, I get asked a lot about herbs, which makes sense because I am a holistic integrative type doctor. I have been in the herbal field for decades at this point. And they will say to me, well, Carrie, surely you don't believe in hormones. And that's not true at all. Like I said, I've been prescribing hormones for a very long time, since 2005. But I've also been using herbs for a very long time. And black cohosh and red clover and other herbs, maca, I love them. There is a time and a place for herbs. I am such a fan of herbs. But I often get asked, is it the same thing? Can I just go on black cohosh and not estradiol? Can I just take this red clover blend and not estradiol? Is it a 1-to-1? Can I eat more soy products and it will raise my estradiol? No, unfortunately. They have a lot of great uses. They've even been studied. I am a fan of a lot of these herbs. But if you are looking for a direct 1-to-1, Carrie, I want the benefits of estradiol. I want to get to the bone level of estradiol, meaning like the reduces the risk of fracture and osteoporosis and osteopenia. It's not going to be the herbs that get you there. They can absolutely help alleviate some symptoms, but they're not a 1-to-1 with estrogen. And because I am a holistic doctor, people assume that that's how I practice, and it is not. I'm very clear on the mechanism of action of herbs versus the mechanism of action of the actual hormone itself. They are not a 1-to-1. It is not same. Some people will argue with me about wild yam cream. They'll go, well, wild yam cream is progesterone. So in a laboratory, wild yam cream can be converted into progesterone. It's our understanding that our own body, your human body, cannot make that conversion. You cannot synthesize progesterone out of wild yam cream. It doesn't mean that wild yam as an herb may not be helpful and beneficial for you in other ways, but it is not the same thing as taking progesterone. Progesterone derived from wild yam means it was synthesized to look like the actual bioidentical progesterone in your body. And that is somewhat different. And I know that's hard to, like, for some people to wrap their head around because they're like, well, progesterone comes from wild yam. Like, right, synthesized in a lab to look like yours. That's different than slathering on the herb wild yam cream. I like wild yam, don't get me wrong, but if it's progesterone you're after, it's progesterone you want. Okay, number 4, my dose should stay the same. That's what I've been told. I've been told I started on hormones and my practitioner will not go up any higher, or my practitioner will not adjust the dose because of whatever reason, my age or my, lab work, or because that's how they practice, that's how they feel. And I'm very much in the belief that because perimenopause can feel like a roller coaster, that you may absolutely have to adjust not only your dose, but potentially the manufacturer. Let's say you use a patch and you've been using a patch, and then the pharmacy fills a different type of patch. It's a different generic manufacturer this time. And now you react to the adhesive when you didn't used to react to the adhesive. Well, reacting to the adhesive means that you may absorb less of the hormone in there. So even things like that I have to keep in mind. Maybe you're reacting to the adhesive or it's pulling off or falling off. So you're like, screw this, I want the gel. Cool, let's switch you over. We can do that. So please know that your dose, the brand, the type might change. And it might change often, which I know can feel frustrating because you are kind of on this roller coaster. Or it might not change hardly at all. But don't feel like it's just like set it and forget it for every single woman. That is not the case. I've done an episode where I talked about a study that looked at the different absorptions or the different way the body processes the estrogen coming out of gels and patches. The technical term is called pharmacokinetics. And we know things like, did you shower immediately after you applied? Do you have a lot of blood flow to the area? Do you have a lot of, adiposity or skin fat or fat underneath the skin? What's your ethnicity? What's the health and quality of the skin where you're applying it? The location of where you're applying it. Are you applying it to your thighs? Are you applying it to your low belly? Are you applying it to your upper, low back, upper butt area? Like, all of these play a role in pharmacokinetics, how you do and don't absorb the estrogen, which means we may have to do some adjusting. Don't feel like it's set it and forget it, especially if you aren't liking how you're feeling on the dose and the type and everything that you're on. We can make adjustments. There are adjustments that can easily be made. All right, number 5. I literally got this DM. It made me so frustrated where a woman said, I am on estradiol patch. I have a systemic estrogen, so the estradiol patch, and I'm having all sorts of vaginal symptoms, urinary symptoms, and my doctor feels because I'm on the patch, I don't need it vaginally as well. And I'm like, oh, that's so not true. That's so not true at all. We have something called genitourinary syndrome of menopause, which is where it specifically impacts all things in and around the vaginal vault, the external, the labia, the urethra. You have increased risk for vaginal infections, just like you have increased risk for urinary tract infections. We have vaginal dryness, vaginal pain, pain with sex. Like, a lot can happen down there. And systemic estrogen, like a gel that you put on your arm or thighs or a patch, or if you're on an estradiol pill, like, it may not touch the vaginal area. You may absolutely need low dose estradiol down there or vaginal DHEA, and you may also need systemic estrogen at the same time. So don't let anyone tell you like, oh, it's the same. The patch will cover it. It'll cover what's going on down there. Not necessarily. No, nope. That's a myth. That's an assumed myth. Now, for some women, they do get a benefit. For some women, maybe especially in the early stages of their perimenopause, early to mid, when they still have okay levels, maybe, let's say low to okay levels of estrogen, but it's going up and down. So they go on a patch or a gel to sort of soothe things out and really help. They may notice that extra boost of the patch or the gel does improve the symptoms down there. But if you have been skipping periods and you're like, whew, I'm feeling kind of dry, I'm feeling painful, I am feeling like it is not right down there, then absolutely you can ask for vaginal estradiol, low dose vaginal estradiol, or even vaginal DHEA, sometimes both, to be really helpful. So you can do both at the same time, a patch gel up on the body and then down below as well. Number 6, you're too young. You're too young for perimenopause. You're not 50 yet. Oh, you're not 51 yet. No, that doesn't happen until you're 52 years old. Oh my goodness gracious. Let me clear up something when it comes to ages. The average age the American woman goes through menopause, walks through that door, is 51 to 52. The average age. Perimenopause is the 6 to 10 year transitional period leading up to that, which means late 30s into the early 40s can be where it starts. Now, I can understand if somebody comes to their practitioner and hasn't had their period in a year and they are 45 and under. So if you're listening to this and you're 42 years old and you haven't had a period in a year, we do consider that young. We do consider that young. Like, oh my gosh, you've gone through early menopause. But if you're like, no, Carrie, I am perimenopausal. I still get my period. I'm just having all sorts of symptoms and I was told I was too young. That's a myth. That's where I have a problem. You are perimenopausal at that point, at that age, and there's a lot we can do. One of the things I do want to point out, and I am seeing this a lot on social media, where women are confusing every hormonal issue with perimenopause, and that's not the case. I am seeing creators who are talking about their perimenopause at 30, perimenopause at 35. And I just want to step back and say, remember, hormone dysfunction can happen at any age. It might be PCOS. It might be, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It might be a thyroid issue. Maybe you're low in certain nutrients that have overlapping symptoms. Maybe you're an iron anemic, B12 anemic, low vitamin D. I mean, there are a lot of things that can happen in life that cause hormone dysfunction. Maybe you started a new medication that's just wrecking your hormones. Maybe you've been under such significant, horrific stress lately, it's impacting your hormones. And it feels similar to the perimenopausal symptoms. but it's not actually perimenopause. It's due to these other things. Perimenopause is the transition because of the change in follicle count that's gone down out of the ovaries. So you're not able to make the systemic hormones out of the ovaries like you used to. So it's this real bumpy ride for a couple years, and then eventually you start skipping periods, and then you flatline out, no periods, and eventually you're postmenopausal. That's different than a thyroid problem. That's different than a B12 deficiency. That's different than polycystic ovary syndrome. So I do want to really point that out because I don't want you to confuse or freak out. Oh my gosh, I'm 35. I'm starting to skip periods. It must be perimenopause. Maybe, probably not. There's probably other stuff going on, and we can get you back on track. But if you're 45, I don't want you to miss those things either. I am also noticing that women in their 40s and 50s, of course, naturally, are calling everything perimenopause. You too can have a thyroid problem. You too can have a vitamin D deficiency. You too might be anemic. You too might have B12 issues. You too may be going under significant horrific stress, and it's impacting your hormones. So please know, we want a pretty significant workup. We want a thorough workup no matter your age, even if you're quote unquote in the standard perimenopausal age. Let's find out what's really going on, and is it perimenopause, and or are other things going on? Now that leads me to myth number 7, our final myth. Is 62 old to start? I had a 62-year-old reach out to me, hot flashes, night sweats, urinary tract infection issues, pain with sex, brain fog, fatigue, all the things. She was afraid of hormones in her younger years, told it caused cancer, chose not to do it, and now because of the big shift and all the information on social media and all the books and the research coming out, she was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I'm done with these symptoms. I'm done feeling like crap. I've had these symptoms for, over a decade at this point. Am I too old? And the answer is no. The Menopause Society has stated women over 65 can stay on their hormones, if they're on hormones, as long as they have regular assessments with their healthcare practitioner, the risk assessment is done, and everything is great. Then if yes, everything's great, stay on their hormones. But also, even though we know it seems the greatest benefit to starting hormones is within the first 10 years of your last period. So let's say your last period is 48 years old. Then between 48 to 58, I would argue earlier than 48, but whatever. So they say within 10 years of kind of about your last period. But let's say your mid 40s into your 50s, that's considered the prime spot if you're going to go on hormones. But let's say you didn't. This person didn't. They waited till 62 and she's like, can I still do it? Again, assessment, risk assessment, labs. And the answer is, as long as that's all good, then the answer, yes, you can start hormones. You can start hormones. Let's alleviate the hot flashes and night sweats. Let's do something to stop the urinary tract infections. Let's try to get your brain back, get that brain fog to go away and improve fatigue. Now, I'm going to do the same thing for her I would do for every other woman. I'm going to work up her thyroid, her nutrients, right? Talk to her about stress and sleep and diet, nutrition, all the foundations. I'm going to do all that. And at the same time, do the hormone workup, do the hormone assessment. She's not too old to go on hormones, but she's being told she's too old. Oh, you're 62. Yeah, no, that's too old. Or I have also heard recently, because of that 10-year window, that 10 years is all you get. You go on hormones for 10 years, and after 10 years, you stop. I hope you realize that once you do stop, all the benefits that you've been getting also stop. It's not like they carry through for the rest of your life. So it is just something to keep in mind that if you're on hormones and choose to stop, that some things may get worse, may come back. It doesn't keep a foothold for the rest of your life, unfortunately. This is why you will often see women say things like, I'm going to die with my hormones. You're going to have to pry them out of my cold dead hand, because at this point, I couldn't imagine being without them. Now, again, I fully realize not everybody likes hormones. Not everybody wants hormones. Not everybody has a great experience with hormones. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But these 7 myths in particular are the things I've literally heard this week. I've been asked this week directly. And you probably have very similar questions if you are on hormones or considering hormones. So I wanted to answer them in detail, really help you make informed decisions so you can take this information to your practitioner, or maybe even just help breathe a little sigh of relief that you're not crazy. You knew all along deep down, you trusted your gut when it came to hormones and, some of the questions you were having. So you're going to want to hit that subscribe button, because I know hormones can feel like herding cats. And when you've got all these myths and all this crazy information out there, I'm here to help answer. I'm here to myth bust. I'm here to help get you the education you need so you can feel informed, talk to your healthcare practitioner, and honest to God, really thrive through perimenopause.